What's up, A to Z Sports Live on this post-game show. The Titans officially lose to the Baltimore Ravens by a final score of 24-16. The Tennessee Titans attempting to get back in this game in a third quarter that had a lot of excitement, but then also the fourth quarter that saw Malik Willis in for the injured Ryan Tannehill, who is having x-rays on his ankle, and the Titans offense unable to score more than the dreaded 16 points that they put up a week ago and the 16 points that they score today. I see comments saying, why not play Will Levis? We'll discuss that reason. And also everything, as ugly as it was, the Titans will return home on a long flight from London, 2-4 going into the bye week. And we'll get to all of this for the Amanda J. Gentry post-game show. So shout out to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. AmandaJGentry.com is where to go for her services. But Jack, tell the people what they got to get going with.
Yeah, absolutely. Y'all are filing in here. I see y'all already blowing up the chat. It was a frustrating, morning across the pond. But while y'all are trickling in, if you're watching on Facebook, I'm going to remind you guys to share the show. Share it to your Titans Facebook groups. Let's get everyone in here. We want to hear from all of you. It's not going to be pretty, but we do want to hear from y'all. Y'all's comments matter to us. We're going to read as many as we can today. If you're watching on YouTube, tap that bell icon at the top of your screen. Make sure you get a notification every time we go live, whether that be Titans, Vols, no matter what. You want to be updated as soon as we go live, so make sure you tap that bell icon, turn those notifications on. Finally, if you're watching on Twitch, text that Twitch link to your Titans text groups. Let's grow this conversation. Let's grow the audience. And Austin, let's get started in breaking this ugly loss down.
Yep, Titan Game Day Live. This is the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry post-game show. Titans lose 24-16, the final score. I want to thank all of our great partners with our Titan Game Day Live this season. X Golf Nashville, the home of indoor golf in Middle Tennessee. xgolfnashville.com. The Mint Gaming Hall, just 35 minutes north of Nashville. The mintgaming.com. BetMGM. Use our code ATOZ200. A $10 moneyline wager turns into $200 in bonus bets instantly. An official partner of the Tennessee Titans. Chimney for all your chimney needs, chim-chimneyinc.com, and Adventure Science Center. Explore and discover at adventuresci.org. Jarrett HVAC and Plumbing, keeping your facility comfortable and secure one inspection at a time. JarrettCompanies.com, and Amanda J. Gentry, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. Tennessee family and criminal courts in over 35 counties. AmandaJGentry.com. So, Jack, this was about as disgusting as it could get because, Dwayne asking, how do y'all cover this trash? Very carefully is how we do that. Now, it's a lot easier when they lose in dramatic fashion like this. And, not a lot went right for the Tennessee Titans in the first half. They found themselves down by 15 points. The third quarter had a lot of promising aspects to it, but things definitely changed when Ryan Tannehill had his ankle rolled up on in the end zone right before Derrick Henry had a 64-yard run that led to a Derrick Henry touchdown. A lot of things happened, but Mike Vrabel and the Titans leave 2-4 after Malik Willis comes into the game in relief of Ryan Tannehill, was 4 of 5 passing for 74 yards, a lot of that, 48 of it, Tyjae Spears screen, catch and run, and Malik took 4 sacks in his 2 series of play. Also ran 3 times for 17 yards. Jack, just what's your emotion right now after watching the Titans team just completely screw away an opportunity to get back in that game when they were only down by 5 points entering that fourth quarter?
Yeah, I think that it's somber because I feel like I'm coming to terms with the Titans not being a good football team. I always had this image of the light at the end of the tunnel. You got a great defense that you can kind of hang your hat on. The run game, Tannehill can make plays when it counts. But we haven't seen any of that. And today the defense got them in trouble. I mean, they held the Ravens like 5 field goals, but Jeffrey Simmons with that 15-yard penalty, the first half did them in. They came out and played it with heart in the second half at least. But the first half's where they lost the game. It was over at halftime. We talked at halftime what our confidence level was. It was 1. I think they did some things to claw back in there, but then the Tannehill death pick that I mentioned felt like was coming at halftime comes in the second half, and that's after he throws a ball so far out of bounds that the officials rule it uncatchable that would have set the Titans up inside the 5-yard line on 1st and goal intended for D-Hop there. It was just a catastrophic failure across all 3 phases. And when that happens, it's the coach that gets the blame, and deservedly so. Mike Vrabel is going to have to eat this one. They looked so badly for most of this game after laying an egg in Indianapolis. How you look like that after a bad loss like that, it's really concerning. And now we're sitting here after this game, after a loss to the Baltimore Ravens, where it felt like, if you played clean, you would have had a shot to win that football game. But you're still sitting here having lost 11 out of the last 13 football games.
Yeah, you lost by 8 points. Your special teams unit gave up 6 points, 2 field goals, because Kyle Phillips muffed the punt. You gave up a 70-yard punt return that led to a field goal. And then Jeffrey Simmons gave up the only touchdown the Ravens scored was because Jeffrey Simmons had that late hit personal foul retaliating on what Odell Beckham Jr. did in the first half. And I've seen what Odell Beckham Jr. did to Jeff Simmons. He kneed Jeff in the side somewhere after a play. Was that illegal and dirty by Odell Beckham Jr.? Yeah. Does Jeffrey Simmons have any reason to retaliate and shove OBJ to draw a 15-yard penalty? No. There's no excuse for that. And I think we've been over this. And for Jeffrey Simmons, who is now in year 5 or 6 of his career, he knows this and he can't do that. And that hurt the team. So there's 12 points right there, Jack, that I added up. The Ravens really did not earn. The Ravens didn't earn a lot of points. The Titans defense played fairly well outside of a couple moments and big plays given up. But the offense now, to flip it over, it's just as painful as it gets because Ryan Tannehill got hurt. And you could tell he stayed in for that drive after he got hurt, which is the Derrick Henry touchdown run there after the big carry from Henry. Ryan Tannehill could barely move. And then he threw the interception the series after that. And you start to wonder how much would he have thrown that interception? Would the pass to DeAndre Hopkins that could have been, if it was more accurate, it would have been a pass interference, but it was deemed uncatchable. Would Tannehill have not been sailing passes if he could have stepped and thrown and pushed off of his right foot where his right ankle was, his back ankle, to drive the football? I honestly feel like the interception and the incomplete throws, the inaccuracies after that were because Tannehill could not throw and push off that ankle. That makes too much logic to me. It's also the same exact ankle that he had the tightrope surgery on in December that put him on injured reserve at the end of last season. He taped it up, tried to go, had to get x-rays. We'll see what that looks like. But Ryan Tannehill going out of the game effectively ended any chance of the Titans winning. Even if you think Tannehill's trash, Artie, I see Artie's comment thinking Tannehill's trash, but Malik Willis is not very good. And Jesse says, terrible take from Austin. What's a terrible take? That a quarterback can't push off his back foot because his ankle's getting x-rays right now? How is that a terrible take? It's pretty logical to me. But Ryan Tannehill's the best quarterback the Titans have. It's not that hard to see now that you all have seen Malik Willis that I got to watch in training camp. He doesn't throw the football. He doesn't throw it. He takes 4 sacks in 2 series because he doesn't throw the ball away. And so in Dashville Tube says, here we go. Austin's making excuses for Tannehill. I'm not making excuses for Tannehill. I tweeted he should have been better. He should have been more accurate with that throw to D-Hop to get the pass interference. But clearly, if you are injured, then you are not going to help the team. You're probably more likely to hurt the team if you were injured, and that's what happened to Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, he was off when he was healthy, though, I will say, and I think you acknowledge that as well. But my God, it's hard to make this offensive line look any worse than they already do. But Malik Willis finds a way. There is no clock upstairs that tells him to get rid of the football. He's incapable of making not only quick decisions, but good decisions. You saw Vrabel kind of tell him, throw the ball. Like, you're a quarterback. We're down by multiple possessions. We got to throw the football. He had an opportunity to step out of bounds, was maybe 6 inches away from the boundary towards the end of the game. Look, it's all academic, but still, you'd like to see your quarterback show some sense of, football awareness, football intelligence, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, it's deeper than the quarterback, right? It's much deeper than just the quarterback. It's the bad penalties. It's the illegal formation when you had a big run where you were carrying a lot of momentum offensively. Tannehill did throw a pick, missed D-Hop. As long as he threw it in the area, the Titans would have come away with a touchdown, most likely. It's just like, and then the Titans show a sign of life in the second half, right? Chris Moore gets knocked out. Kyle Hamilton gets thrown out. And immediately the Titans respond and throw a counterpunch. Derrick Henry does it. Scores a touchdown the very next play. And you're like, okay, I've seen this before. The Titans are going to show they're going to come back in this. They're going to make it a football game. Well, right when they were about to do that, the Tannehill interception comes and takes the life out of your football team. And look, the defense bent and they did not break for most of the day. They played a great game for what they were asked to do, which was almost everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this offense once again cannot help him out. And like, it's not even the play. I thought the play calling was like, okay, it's just the execution. They don't have dudes to execute these, the drop touchdown from NWI. There's just so much that went wrong. It's hard to really put a finger on one, but it's the coach. It's a colossal failure from the coaching staff.
Well,
Whether
let's
special
do
teams coach Craig Ackerman, head coach Mike Vrabel, whoever you want to point the finger at. I mean, it's going to be a long week for those guys.
Everybody's deserving of the finger point today. I definitely agree with that. All right. Well, you said it's hard to put your finger on one thing that lost the Titans game. Well, let's just try to put our finger on one word to describe this game. What's one word to describe the Titans' loss to the Baltimore Ravens in London? What's one word to describe the Titans' loss to the Baltimore Ravens in London? But first, I want to tell you guys all about Amanda J. Gentry and her team, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. You can go check them out at amandajgentry.com. Wherever justice demands, Amanda and her team have practiced in Tennessee family and criminal courts in 35 counties across Middle Tennessee as a trial lawyer, as a family lawyer, criminal lawyer, and also father's rights. That's her specialty, protecting your fundamental constitutional rights to be a father to your children. That's a big deal. It's personal for Amanda, and she wants to make sure that dads out there get what they need in those type of situations. So criminal family defense attorney for Amanda J. Gentry, know your rights and protect your rights. She's been doing it for a long time. She's fantastic. She attacks every case with passion that it deserves to go fight for you and what your situation may be. So whenever that comes, check out Amanda J. Gentry and her team, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry at amandajgentry.com. So Jack, I will send you to the chat what is one word to describe the Titans' loss to the Baltimore Ravens in London, final score 24-16. Jack, what's the chat saying? If you can control it, there's a lot of people and a lot of comments flying in all together. So good luck.
There are. We're going to start on Facebook with the same word from two different people. Embarrassing. That's what Ramon and Matthew say. Joke, says Lloyd. Typical from Charlie. Scuffed from Connor. Egregious from Landon. Titan-esque from Jeff. Unforgivable from Eric. Unprepared from Joe Fisher. Imploding from Jonathan. Expected from Brian. Predictable from Derek. Inconsistent. Telling. Trash from Matt. Caleb, says Feedy. One word that I cannot read on air. Tank, says Jay Boston. Identity, says Zinzi. Trash, says Antonio. Unacceptable from Alan. Culture. That's an interesting word to start throwing around. From Lith. Jaguar, says Steven. It feels like those two teams passed each other like ships in the night, right? Again, says Jamal. Again, 11 of 13. The Titans have dropped. Pathetic from Josh. Red zone from Daryl. Predictable from Mitchell. Cupcake from Darren. Vrabel. We'll end it on Vrabel from Alessandro. Austin, I'm going to ask you now. What's one word to describe this loss?
Yeah, and we will get to super chat, Silas, so don't be worried about that. We've got plenty of post-game show to get to, but we want to follow our game day script for our post-game show with the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, so hold tight on that. My one word, whoever said imploded, I love that. I'm going to go with destructive because I think this was a self-destructive game for the Tennessee Titans with so many mistakes that were avoidable. Like the Baltimore Ravens are now 4-2, and in their two losses, the Ravens were self-destructible too. And so I think for what this team is, they are not performing well anywhere. Like, I mean, you can point out moments. Tajay Spears looks electric, but he has a stupid block in the back penalty that pushes you back to the 11-yard line instead of the 3. You've got moments where Derrick Henry can be really good, but then you try to do a toss play to the left side for the third play in a row and you lose yards. Now it's 3rd and short. There's just so many things that is destructing this team. And I said this at the halftime show because somebody called for me in the chat and said that my one word better be coaching. My one word was almost coaching because I said this at halftime, and I want to say it again for those that did not watch the halftime show. I am seriously questioning Mike Vrabel and his staff's ability to coach this roster because you have players up and down this roster the highest paid players on the roster, some of the lowest paid players on the roster, and everywhere in between that are doing dumb things to hurt the football team. Whether it's Kyle Phillips fielding a punt and muffing it, Jeffrey Simmons having that 15-yard penalty, Ryan Tannehill not giving DeAndre Hopkins a chance, NPF not lining up correctly, then having a false start later on, whatever it might be, there's guys up and down the roster not doing their jobs, which falls on Mike Vrabel and his staff, because clearly what they're saying, they're not coaching NPF to line up wrong, but he's doing it anyway. They're talking to Jeffrey Simmons about not doing dumb stuff to hurt the football team after the whistle. Yet here he is again doing it. So there's a disconnect. This team is destructing. Like, I don't know what, why, or who, or what needs to fix it, but coaching and destructiveness, this is what I'm at right now. And, you know, I don't know how Amy Adams feels about Mike Vrabel. I think she feels very strongly about the guy, and that was evident in her firing of John Robinson. But this is not good. Not good, guys. Not great, Bob. Jack, what's your
not great, Bob? My one word is broken. Not only is the on-field product broken, but it appears that this Titans culture that was once so strong when, in the early days of Vrabel was here, it seems to be broken. The culture in the locker room seems to be broken. Captains like Jeffrey Simmons are making boneheaded penalties that cost them really 7 points in this one, or 6 points, excuse me. The extra point was blocked. But Kyle Phillips fielding a punt in which he should have never even come close to touching the football, right? The offense clearly not being able to execute. We've known that's a problem. It's like we've kind of already exhausted all of our discussion about the offense because they've shown us who they are time in and time again for this entire season, and nothing's fixed. The play is broken. The coaching is broken. The culture is sadly broken. And now you've got a losing product. Now you've lost 11 out of 13. This is who you are. So you've got to figure out, is it worth fixing? Is it worth fixing this year? Is it worth fixing without Tannehill? Is it possible even to be fixed? And where do you start fixing it? There's so many issues that I don't know where, the first place you start to fix this is. But Mike Vrabel's lost control. It's evident in just the way the team plays. And the worst part about this was, and why I truly believe that the culture has been broken, is because this is a hated rival. And you got off the bus flat. You don't show up for a first half against one of your most hated rivals. Something is broken within the culture.
Yeah, I don't disagree. It doesn't feel right with what this franchise and what this team is supposed to be and has been under Mike Vrabel. And usually, and they used to be, one of the least penalized teams in the NFL. And last year, they were one of the most penalized teams in the NFL, but there was a reasonable answer for that last year. Oh, well, when you have everybody getting hurt and you're bringing guys off the street and off the couch over and over every week, it makes sense if they're going to make mistakes and have penalties. But that's not the case anymore. Until today, the Titans team was fairly healthy. I mean, if you look at it, like, they had guys that are playing that were on this roster in training camp, and they're playing out there and staying healthy. Now, 2 concussions from Kyle Hamilton. Kyle Hamilton rightfully ejected, should be fined, and I would say should be suspended. He concussed Josh Wiley and then had one of the worst hits I've seen on a player in a while in the NFL on Chris Moore, and you hope Chris Moore's okay. And then Ryan Tannehill is getting x-rays on his right ankle that was surgically repaired last season. So, I don't know what's going on, but there's no more reasons for this. Anything you hear from now on are excuses.
And the one thing the Titans could hang their hat on and call their identity was their pass rush. Where the hell has that gone? 2 sacks in the last 2 weeks. And I know Lamar's a hard guy to bring down, but they've done it before, and they've done it with less talented fronts than what they're working with right now. It's a mess. It is a big time mess.
Yeah, get your brooms, right?
Get your brooms, because it's
a
mess.
I will read some super chats here now on the post-game show presented by our friends at the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, wherever justice demands. AmandaJGentry.com for all of her and her team services. They do a phenomenal job and approach everything with passion. Gary says Tannehill killed momentum with the interception in the third quarter. No doubt about that. Absolutely. Titans down 3, have a chance, got the ball back, have a chance to go get the lead. And Ryan Tannehill throws a pick deep on what I believe was a second down play, maybe even a first down play, but
Into
it was
double
definitely
coverage.
it was so unnecessary. So Gary, 2 times, you're absolutely correct. I even tweeted that it felt like Ryan Tannehill was trying to get credit for the class project to get back in the game, but he was distracting the whole group and ruined it right there. D'Lo says Titans are in desperate need of weapons at wide receivers. Yeah, I mean, NWI's got to catch the football in the end zone. D-Hop had a hard day because he couldn't get open and was getting just beat down and mugged almost every time down the field,
Yeah.
like a London mugging over there. And then
But
Traylon Burks is not around.
what's the point in having all these superstar wide receivers? If
If you
you're
can't
throwing
get
for
him the ball,
100 yards, if you're throwing for 100 yards, and yeah, the end zone targets, I was so frustrated with what happened in the low red zone today because every time they dropped back to pass down there, it felt like the ball landed 5 to 10 yards out of bounds on every single attempt. They didn't
yeah,
give D-Hop a chance all day. Not one. Oh, it's so frustrating. I'm going to lose it, man. I'm going crazy over here.
Tortuga says, is this the switch that the turnaround the offense like in 2019? Remember, Ryan lost his game when he replaced Marcus. I have a hard time thinking that because Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis as backups were not the same thing. And if you watched Malik at all in the end of that game, then you, I think, can know that. And that's who Malik is. We'll talk about Malik and Tannehill, I'm sure, when we do our quarterback grades later on. But, it is ironic that the Titans are 2-4 after losing in week 6 in an ugly fashion. And one quarterback replaced the starter who was struggling in that game. Now, that makes sense. That lines up, but I don't necessarily think the backup quarterbacks are created equal. Not a super chat, but Austin Tucker says, why was Henry not in the game on the first, on the 1 yard line after the Kyle Phillips pass interference got it to the 1? Because they can't sub. They were just in a, that's the problem. And, they're in a hurry up. They can't sub and take that extra time. They had to go. I get your point, Austin. If Derrick Henry's in the game after the penalty, then 1 yard's all you need. Great. But I don't think that's what the problem with Derrick Henry led offenses are. Silas says, bench Tannenbaum, give Levis experience for next year. And with this super chat, I'll address people asking why could Levis not play? Because he was the emergency quarterback, and that's the new rule. Levis was dressed out on the field, but emergency quarterbacks are only eligible to enter if both of the first 2 quarterbacks are deemed unhealthy to return from an injury standpoint. So the only way Will could have gone in there is if if Malik Willis got hurt and was ruled out of the game, and that just did not happen. But we'll talk about moving forward as well.
I was gonna say, keep an eye on that bye week because if you agree with my opinion that Malik Willis is not an NFL quarterback, at least not one that you'd want to win with, you've got an extra week to get the guy behind him ready if that's what you want to do. We'll see what the Titans opt to do.
I agree. A couple more super chats before we keep moving here. Grimjin says we won't bounce back. Done for this season. Hard to disagree with that one, Grim Jim. No, you're just being grim. But Darren says, my brother, an Eagles fan, texted him at halftime and said, your team is unwatchable. That's our rep around the league. Let that sink in. Oh, yeah, Darren, you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's brutal to watch. Nobody wants to watch this team. That's why the Titans don't play on prime time unless they're playing Miami Dolphins or something like that. So, look, let's go ahead and let's talk about the quarterback situation because we always do that in our post-game show presented by the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. But let's go ahead and grade the quarterbacks. How do you grade Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis's? So there's 2, right? You got to do a little update here. How do you grade Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis's performances today in the Titans' loss to the Ravens? So let's start with Ryan Tannehill's grade. We'll get to his numbers here momentarily, but first, let me tell you guys about our great friends at Chim Chimney. For whatever your chimney needs are, I almost went full Sam Failing with chimney, but whatever your chimney needs are, Chim Chimney is who you should depend on because they have expertise and experience in the industry, pride themselves on extensive experience in the chimney sweeping and repairs. Chim Chimney's team is knowledgeable and has the skills that have been honed over decades of service. They talk about safety first. Whenever you choose Chim Chimney, you're choosing safety for your home. Services not only enhance your chimney's performances, but also ensure your home remains safe from fire hazards and carbon monoxide risks. Chim Chimney does all your chimney sweeping needs and also any of your dryer vent needs. So check out chim-chimneyinc.com for, like, it's fire season on the football field or in your fireplace. So make sure that you're all safe with chim-chimneyinc.com. Jack, I'll send you the chats for quarterback grades here on this post-game show. Quarterback grades for Ryan Tannehill and Malik Willis, both of them we'll discuss.
All right, we'll start with Lane, who says D for Tannehill, D- for Willis. Let's see. B Bird says Tanny, C, Willis, F. F for Tanny, and let me read the F, and F plus for Malik, since he was cold. He came in cold. It was a tough situation to come in fairness. Tannehill F, Willis D from Andy. D-, just a D- for everybody. Tannehill C, Malik D plus. Tannehill F, Willis D-. Jared, just a big old F. F and D from Cameron Strong. Ryan, a D. We got an F from JJ, an F from Eric. Let's see. We got a F for fail. We got 2 faileds. F- and F- from Landon. Tannehill D-, Malik F, Malik H for terrible. Not even on the grading system. Let's keep going here. F and F from King VC. Ryan Tannehill a B-, Malik Willis a D-. I don't know how you justify giving Ryan Tannehill a B- today. A D for Tannehill, an F for Willis from Dwayne, D+ from Ronnie, Tannehill C, Malik F. It's a lot of people have this to say, and I'll pull it up as soon as my screen refreshes. Levis time. It's not even about Tannehill or Willis anymore. It's moving on. They want to move on because these grades are what fans are giving Tannehill and Willis today. F-, F- from Allen.
Yeah, I do want to go because somebody said, how did Tannehill have a 30-something QB rating and Willis had a 118? 37 from Tannehill, 118 from Malik. That's because Malik was technically 4 of 5 for 74 yards because 48 of those came from Tajay Spears making crazy moves down the field to get Malik Willis in the red zone. But let's remember that Malik was sacked 4 times. So he threw the ball 5. He scrambled and ran twice. So that's 7, right? Then he was sacked 4 times. So on 11 dropbacks, Malik Willis was sacked 4 times. Now, it's a bad spot, but to be in because you're down, you have to pass. I understand that. But sacked 4 times in 11 dropbacks is honestly impressive for how.
And a lot of those weren't on the offensive line. They were on Willis holding the ball for way too long, trying to make something happen in the pocket, and it just caving in around him. So Malik Willis has a lot of blame for those sacks too. It's not just the offensive line. You're right though. It's, he came in and his first throw to NWI, I was like, man, he's poised. He's ready to do this. Like this was his chance. He's going to take advantage of it. And then it all crumbles. Like the second anyone gets within distance to breathe on him, he loses it and he's got to run. And he takes his eyes off downfield, and you can't have that at this level. And we've always said, Malik's a project, obviously, and the Titans knew that when they drafted him. But they don't have much more time to spend on this project. They're going to have to invest their energy somewhere else eventually. Yeah,
I do want to bring this up. 13 Focused says Tim Kelly has to go. No.
What?
No.
That's your takeaway from that today?
If that's your takeaway, then I don't know. Then you need to watch more football or something. Tim Kelly's not the problem. I think Tim Kelly does a pretty good job. Tim Kelly is way better than Todd Downing. I think we need to see more points. I think the end result is the same, but how they got there is very different here. So when we grade Ryan Tannehill, do you want to know his numbers before the interception or before the ankle injury? Excuse me.
Why not? Let's add some context to it.
All right. Before the ankle injury, let me make sure I got this right. Let's see. 9 yards. He only had 9 yards passing after the ankle injury. So before the ankle injury, Ryan Tannehill was 7 of 11 for 65 yards. So 7 for 11 for 65 yards. That's not good by any means, but he ended 8 of 16 for 76 yards and a touchdown. So after Tannehill's ankle got hurt, he went 1 for 5 for 9 yards and in the interception. So I do think there is a clear difference in before and after. The injury had an impact on it, and he got pulled after the interception and went and got x-rays. So he wasn't good before the ankle injury. I want to say that so you guys understand what I'm saying. Ryan Tannehill was not good before he got hurt, but the injury made him a lot worse. So,
and
Jack,
we're still going to hold him. We're still going to hold him accountable for the throws that he made when he was in there.
I'm not discrediting that.
We're still doing that.
I just want to just throw that out there because if a player is injured and they're fighting through it, bravo to an extent, but then now you're hurting the football team. So, Jack, how do you grade Ryan Tannehill overall before the injury, including the injury, the interception, and everything?
Here's my thing. I didn't have Tannehill at an F before I really put a lot of thought into this because he didn't throw 2 picks. He only threw 1 pick. And in my eyes, to really fail, you've got to turn it over a couple times. But I'm looking at this, and I'm just pouring through the numbers. Titans were 1 for 9 on 3rd down. They threw for 104 yards total today and completed 12 of 21 passes as a unit. That is an F-worthy grade. So Ryan Tannehill gets an F from me, and Malik Willis gets a D-. Malik Willis saves himself from an F because he wasn't in long enough to make a mistake, to throw a pick, to fumble the football. Now, if he played 4 quarters, I'm sure he would have, because there were signs that he was going to get eaten alive in there had he been left in longer, or he had to enter the game earlier, I should say. 4 sacks and 11 dropbacks. Are you freaking kidding me? I mean, that is absolutely appalling. Ryan Tannehill is making terrible decisions while the Titans do have momentum. The throw to D-Hop that was out of bounds is what changed the game in my eyes. Settling for 3 there instead of punching it in for 6 when you've struggled so much in the red zone. Sometimes you just got to see the ball go through the net one time. Sometimes it's that snowball that can turn into an avalanche. Just get into the end zone one time. Get into the end zone there, and this offense could have looked totally different the rest of the way. But Tannehill throws the ball so far out of bounds that the refs have to pick up their flag. Tannehill failed today. He gets an F. Malik Willis wasn't in long enough to fail, but he certainly didn't pass. So he's a D-, and I feel pretty good about those 2 grades.
I have a hard time putting Tannehill below Malik. I think they both had D-minuses. And here's the problem is that Ryan Tannehill was not good. He had the back-breaking interception, the incompletion, the overthrow to Hopkins that did not get the pass interference was after the ankle injury too. And so he's got to be better there. And he hurt his team today trying to make plays when he shouldn't have. And if he would have done less, then they maybe have a chance to win the game. But also the problem is that Malik Willis is the same exact quarterback that we saw last season. When Ryan Tannehill went down with his ankle injury a year ago, same ankle, by the way. When Tannehill went down, Malik Willis is the same guy. He doesn't have patience. He doesn't read the field well. He doesn't throw the football, and he takes sacks, and he can't scramble very well. Like every once in a while, he scrambles and picks up 8 yards or so, but his running is so inefficient that he's like, I don't even know if he wants to know he's like a squirrel. He doesn't know what direction he wants to run into. And so he
There's
just
no
runs.
instinct.
He covers a lot of ground without going anywhere, And so I think they both deserve D-. And then I don't know what the situation is going to be with Tannehill's ankle after the bye week, but I do not want to watch Malik Willis start a game. Hassani says Willis had a 117 rating.
No.
We're not doing the box score.
We're not doing the box score warriors today. We're not giving these guys any light. If you watched Malik Willis when he was in there, you are frustrated, you are pissed off, and once again, your opinion that he is not the guy to move forward with has been validated. How much more can the Titans roll Malik Willis out there hoping for something different? Malik Willis is who he is. He's had multiple off seasons now to correct some of these issues, and he's still making elementary, fundamental mistakes. You can't win like that in the NFL. You cannot continue to do that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Malik Willis has given you the same result every time they've rolled him out there. Why expect anything different?
Yeah. And, one play helped Malik Willis, and that was a screen thrown behind the line of scrimmage, and Tajay Spears took it 48 yards. Hassani says, I want to watch Willis. I would love for somebody to
Pass.
give me a reason that's not because Ryan Tannehill ain't it, that you would want to watch Malik Willis. I want actual one reason from Hassani that's not because Tannehill's not it, that you would want to watch Malik. Because the first preseason game Malik Willis played, Mike Vrabel pulled him because he wouldn't throw the football. Here again, sacked 4 times and scrambled twice in 11 dropbacks because he won't throw the football. That's over 50% of the time he would not throw the ball as a quarterback. And I watched him in 7-on-7 drills with no pass rush, no shoulder pads on, in training camp, not throw the football. And coaches freaking out because it's throw the dang ball. Who cares if you throw a pick in practice? He won't throw the ball. And so that's where I don't have any or much belief in Malik as a long-term success. So,
and there's a lot of people in the chat, because I do want to address this point, because I've seen multiple people make it. They say, well, if Levis couldn't beat out Willis, then what the hell's Levis going to help them with? Levis did get hurt in training camp, but also Willis had the edge and experience, and he'd been in the system for an extra year. Not making excuses for Levis. You should still be able to beat out a guy like Malik Willis, who Titans fans are pretty, are pretty confident that he's not the guy moving forward. But the idea that you are tanking by putting Levis in over Willis is asinine to me. I don't think how you could get worse quarterback play from Will Levis after watching Malik Willis sit back there and dance and wait to get tackled.
Yeah. And look, there's a lot of reasons why that we're grading the quarterback. We grade quarterbacks every post-game show, whether it's Ryan Tannehill, Malik, Josh Dobbs, I don't care. We started this back when Marcus Mariota was the starter on our A to Z Titan Game Day post-game shows, where we grade the quarterback every post-game show. So look, Malik is not good. Ryan Tannehill was not good today either. So they both get a D- in my eyes. And honestly, hurt the team from having a chance to win the game. And the Titans lose the game 24-16, 2-4 is the record. We'll have to find out and see what the plan is, depending on the severity of Ryan Tannehill's ankle and the bye week and what happens when the Titans play next, which is against the Falcons in Nashville, wearing the Oilers throwbacks. But Jack, let's go ahead and revisit what we thought was going to be the X factor at the beginning of this game. So we each had X factors. Everybody who watched our pregame show had their X factor. How did our X factors play out? But first, X Golf, they are the home of indoor golf in Nashville, and it's 72 and sunny and happy always in the X Golf Nashville facilities there in West Nashville. They have reinvented the way you can play golf simulation, because they have the best golf simulator in the industry right now. You can play any course in the world and also be entertained by the TVs they got going on, all of their bar and food options. So if you want to go watch the rest of pro football today, go to X Golf in Nashville, West Nashville, to be exact, over there, and play, have fun. Corporate events are great for X Golf Nashville. So find them online at xgolfnashville.com. So Jack, what was your X factor in the pregame show this morning?
I centered it around the Titans' pass defense, but I keyed in on Kevin Byard because of his history against the Ravens. Coming into this one, he had 4 picks in 5 games against Baltimore, which is the most interceptions against a certain team that Kevin Byard has against anyone. It's actually tied for the Browns. He's also got 4 picks against the Browns. But, Sean Murphy-Bunting came away with a pick, but Kevin Byard wasn't a huge factor in this one on the backside for me. I mean, in the first quarter, Nelson Aguilar got behind some guys. Odell Beckham had an explosive play. In the first half, the Ravens had 3 explosive plays. Kevin Byard was not an X factor today. I mean, it's as simple as that.
He had a couple nice tackles there, like in some open field after somebody spilled through the
on Mark Andrews. He had a nice tackle on Mark Andrews.
Like,
he's not an X factor.
I don't think Kevin Byard was bad by any means. I don't think he had a lot of opportunities to make plays, and I haven't seen people test him really that often. I think that's kind of the problem, is that Kevin Byard's easy to avoid from opposing offenses. And so he's out there playing deep zone as the safety, because you have to make sure that you have somebody behind Christian Fulton, who got benched, by the way. in the middle of the game. Then he came back. Andre Dillard also got benched, and NPF came at left tackle. I'm sure we'll talk about that.
Thought he looked actually okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's a positive. But so your X factor was Kevin Byard. Your problem is he didn't make a game-changing play.
Exactly. And that's what the Titans needed him to do.
But I also don't think he needs to force it, because that's also not good either.
No, because Christian Fulton's been forcing it, and we've all seen how that's worked out.
Yeah, not good. Not great, Bob. Once again, my X factor was first down efficiency. I said in the pregame show, the Titans' success in the red zone and scoring touchdowns depends on how good they are on first down in those spots. Because if they're not good on first down, that usually leads to third and longs. That usually leads with them kicking the football, whether a field goal or a punt. And honestly, I was proven correct. The Titans struggle to get first downs and convert third downs. Jack, what was the third down number today?
1 for 9.
1 for 9.
Heading into the fourth quarter, the Titans had not converted on a third down. That's unacceptable, and that's why it's a failure across all fronts, offensively at least.
How about this? How about this stat, Jack? The Titans converted 17 first downs today. 8 of those first downs were converted by Ravens penalties.
They struggle to move the chains. They don't have that guy in the middle that can go pick up. I mean, NWI has been used a couple of times for that little intermediate route, but that's the dinking and dunking, and the Henry for 2. Henry falls forward for 3. It's not working. There were no explosive plays really today on offense outside of the Spears screen at the end of the game. You lose Chris Moore to the concussion. That hurts you. You don't have Treylon Burks, who's your fastest guy at wideout. Kyle Phillips has yet to make an impact on this offense. We're still waiting. I don't know how much longer Titans fans are going to wait around for Kyle Phillips to produce, especially when he's muffing punts.
They let him return another one.
I know. He got, at least he fielded it well. He fielded it, picked up 5 yards, and there was an illegal block in the back that backed him up. So when it rains, it pours, and it certainly poured in London today.
Yeah, King Row 12 says this show is an F. Thanks for watching. So I think the Titans had 8 first downs by penalty, and the Ravens had a total of 88 penalty yards on 9 penalties. Yet the Titans can't take advantage of really any of it. Where the Titans had 6 penalties for 45 yards, only gave the Ravens 2 first down from penalties, but they were able to make as much as they can from it, scored their 1 touchdown off of Jeffrey Simmons' penalty. So I think it just shows you that if this Titans offense even gets behind the sticks whatsoever, the only way they get bailed out of it is if the defense commits a penalty. And right after SMB's interception, so first down on the 25-yard line, eerily similar of how the season began. Amani Hooker gets a fumble in the opening kickoff in New Orleans. They get the football in the 22 or whatever. Wesco has a false start. You back it up. 1st and 15. Derrick Henry's off the field. Then you go 3 and out and kick a field goal. Well, NPF, false start on the 25-yard line. You back it up. 1st and 15. Here you go. Now you got to throw. And the only reason why they survived is because Chris Moore got concussed by a very dirty hit by Kyle Hamilton, and they scored a touchdown the next play.
So I believe Moore would have caught that anyways if he didn't get cheap shotted.
So you literally had to have the Ravens give you a penalty to score a touchdown.
It makes you like, what does Vrabel say to these guys? Because again, it's not one thing. It's a lack of focus with these penalties. It's a lack of discipline on defense with Jeffrey Simmons, and back to the penalty. In the secondary, also lack of discipline in kind of executing the game plan. And then on offense, it's like pulling teeth watching this team move the football up and down the field. Well, really, they don't move it up and down the field. Watching this football attempt to move the football up the field. It's a frustrating effort. And this is right now, I mean, it's a bad team. And you're seeing that reflected in their record at 2-4. They've got a long ways to go this season, and it is still salvageable. And everyone in the chat's going to lose their mind because I said it's still salvageable. Well, teams have made the playoffs after going 2-4 to start the season. They do have the 3rd easiest schedule remaining, so perhaps that's your silver lining. But I'm like these guys in the chat, man. I'm sick and tired of the silver linings. Sure, you have bad football teams coming up on your schedule, but right now, you are a bad football team. You are a team that opponents are circling on their schedule and writing a big green W on right now. That's who you are. Until you fix that, it doesn't matter who you play. You're beating yourselves every week.
Yeah, it's really rough to watch, and I'm very fascinated. I think the bye week is going to be very interesting to watch because of what's going on with Tannehill's ankle, and then also with the backups of we got a taste of Malik Willis today, and we all knew that Will Levis getting hurt in the preseason didn't allow Levis to have as many reps, and Malik won that backup job because he was available
by default, really. Yeah.
Yeah, the competition was incomplete, unfortunately. And so now we truly have no idea. We saw Will Levis play against the Bears and it didn't look great. He threw a pick to end the game there. So it's really going to be dramatic over the next 2 weeks, depending on Tannehill's ankle, what happens, and then who they want to go with after the bye week if Tannehill can't go.
And
And
there's
Champion
so much
said,
I was going to say there's so much to get to in the bye week, but the way this season has gone for Ryan Tannehill, it's hard to see him back in two-tone blue next year. I know his contract's up anyways, but if he played well, it felt like there might be a chance. If this ankle injury turns out being serious and you've kind of, what he's put on tape hasn't been great this year, it's really hard imagining a future for Ryan Tannehill in Tennessee any longer than January.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Look, I'm not going to go into any more Malik questions. We've got so much time. We've got 10 shows, 10 days of morning shows and prime time and everything that we can discuss when in the Tighten Up podcast. You guys got all the multiple episodes to discuss Tannehill, Malik, Levis, and go through all of everybody that thinks people are hating on Malik. When, look, I'm just telling you what I've seen through two training camps and what we've seen him play in NFL games over the last, 15 months here too. All right. So Jack, let's go ahead and look at Mike Vrabel has a formula of victory. How did the Titans do in his winning formula? But first, Adventure Science Center. Start your full family adventure with Adventure Science Center at adventuresci.org. Explore and discover with your full family. I went just a couple weeks ago, had a ton of fun, learned actually a lot about the eclipse that happened yesterday. Tough to see in Nashville, but I knew that because I went to Adventure Science Center 2 weeks ago. They had the Science of Spirits event. It was a 21 plus event with a lot of cocktails and learning about the science of alcohol and also a little spirit spooky season there too. They do have an event coming up in December 1st. It's another 21 and up event. But if you've got kids, Adventure Science Center is where you should take them to learn in a fun way about everything with your body, the solar system, how things work, body quests, all ages, the tinkering garage with how vehicles and everything works there. It's truly a great experience for the entire family. AdventureSCI.org is where to find them. Adventure Science Center right there. So the Mike Vrabel winning formula, Jack, is have more rushing yards, have the better quarterback rating, and win the turnover battle. The Titans did not outrush the Ravens. It was close. Ravens had 139 on the ground. Titans had 129. The turnovers were 1-1, and the quarterback rating was the Titans a combined 59 and Lamar a 88. So the Titans did a pretty good job on Lamar Jackson, but their quarterback play, as we both previously graded as D's or F's, was not good enough at all.
Mm-hmm. And the rushing yards, it's inflated because of one rush from Derrick Henry. Really, the Titans had a really hard time running the football all day long. You mentioned yet another week, the Titans don't win the turnover battle. They've won it one time this season against the Browns, and they got drubbed. They have won the turnover battle one time. You've got this great defense.
My bad. I forgot to add the 2-1 losing the turnover battle because I forgot about the Kyle Phillips. I've been trying to get that out of my head because it was so bad. So
it was
2-1.
But you've won the turnover battle one time in 6 weeks, and it came in a game you got absolutely blown out in. You have a good defense, go make a play on the football. It's time to start forcing turnovers. This offense needs all the help they can get. If you can set them up in good field position, well, we saw it today. They'll probably still kick a field goal, but they've got a chance to score a touchdown. The Titans have to be more opportunistic on that side of the football.
Yeah. Hey, how many yards did Derrick Henry end up having rushing?
I'll have to pull it up. Was it over 100? It was pretty close. I know there was a technicality that went down as a pass.
97.
97.
12 carries, 97 yards. Even with a 63-yard run, no 100 yards for Derrick Henry, Jack. I'm sorry to just tell you that I was right.
Oh, my goodness. You do not go parading around about that. 3 yards away.
He didn't have 100. He did not have
no,
100.
he didn't. It's a tough
Billy
defense
says he
to
had
run for
100. He did not. Rich Eisen was incorrect. Dre, he was not over 100. He had 2 catches for 16 yards. Both of those looked like toss sweeps, but in fact were graded or were called receptions for Derrick Henry, not carries. So
do you think you lowballed it at 0.01% before the show? Do you think you may have lowballed it a little?
maybe.
Nah. Yeah.
I mean, does it matter? I was correct.
Well, yeah, it sure matters. Got to hold ourselves accountable.
Billy says he was over 100 and went back. Nope, he never crossed 100 yards rushing today. Never once. He did lose yards on his last carry, but that was just 98 to 97. Yeah. Nate also says Rich Eisen, fire him now. I like Rich Eisen. I don't think he deserves to be fired at all, but Rich Eisen's not a play-by-play guy calling games. He is a studio host, a radio host, and a very good one at that, but he is not the strongest TV play-by-play guy. But I like Rich. So
that being said, I was way more bothered by what I was watching than what I was hearing.
Yes. Yeah.
I think that's fair to say.
Yes. Mark says Vegas would have paid that bet, Austin. Yeah, they'd paid me for getting it right. That's exactly what it is. All right, Jack, before we head out of here, let's look at the AFC South standings and try to figure out what is ahead of the Titans. You've mentioned the Titans have the third easiest schedule the rest of the way here. But first, before we look around the AFC South, got a game on in front of me, Colts and the Jags here. But first, the Jarrett Companies group, they can take care of all of it. And they got your plumbing and HVAC needs taken care of. Full service HVAC and plumbing from installation to repairs. Jarrett handles it all with skilled technicians, certified, experienced, and ready to tackle any challenge. And it's very important with any of your HVAC and plumbing to have preventative maintenance. Jarrett offers plans that keep your systems running smoothly year-round and great customer service. That's how they make the approach with low costs. Since Jarrett is locally owned, you can miss out on those other corporate markups. So JarrettCompanies.com for their HVAC and plumbing. Also, they're fire experts as well there too with all Jarrett has. But looking around the AFC South, you've got the Colts. Gardner Minshew just sack fumble. It looks like the Jags got it. Jags just went up 7-3 and now have the ball back again. And I don't know if you saw this earlier this morning, Jack, because we were doing the pregame show, but there was reports from Ian Rappaport saying that Anthony Richardson is experimenting or at least looking to see what it would be like to have a season-ending shoulder surgery that would have him on the shelf. And so the Colts are kind of in flux. I think the Colts are probably winning more games with Minshew the whole way, but the Jags have an opportunity with the Titans being what the Titans are and the Colts having quarterback problems and the Texans just being the Texans to run away with this thing.
You're not wrong. And we do have to, it's so early in the season, it is worth keeping an eye on things. But if the Titans don't fix what's wrong internally, then they don't have a chance anyways. The Colts are much more real than I anticipated before the season. The Texans look a whole lot better than I thought they would. The Jaguars still have that tough schedule. We thought that this might be a 2-team race heading into the season, but it's looking like all 4 teams could pull something out. I mean, I'd be surprised if the Texans or Colts ended up winning it, but they certainly are you can't sleepwalk through those 2 teams. And we saw that last week firsthand.
Yeah, and the Jags did just score a touchdown. The first play after the Gardner Minshew fumble, Travis Etienne direct snap, zone read, and takes it the rest of the way. So now the Jags are up 14-3 on the Colts after scoring back-to-back touchdowns in about a 30-second time span. So look, I did see this, Jack, that CJ Stroud threw his first interception of the season. So he is, in fact, human. But the Titans have an uphill battle. But they can do it. Like if Ryan Tannehill's not done, I still think the Titans can figure this out, but there is a lot of looking in the mirror and soul searching coming from Mike Vrabel and all the way down that they have 2 weeks to do. And it starts with an 8.5 hour plane flight from London back to Nashville.
It really is easy to be pessimistic after watching the Titans play these last 2 weeks. But if Tannehill is healthy, they're going to have a chance. They're going to be in games with this defense. They're just going to. They don't. This defense doesn't let people score touchdowns, so they're going to be in plenty of games. Is the offense able to step up to the challenge? Are they able to meet that challenge and find a way to convert on third down, convert in the red zone, put 6 on the board instead of 3? That remains to be seen. But if you can do that, you give yourselves a shot in a division where it might only take 9 or 10 wins to take it home.
Yeah, and there are 5 people are getting after me about being optimistic. Like Umberto says, you're crazy, and people saying, "Stop."
It's a bad division at the end of the day.
Yeah, and you have 5 divisional games ahead of you. Like it's not. I'm not gonna bet on it anymore. I am more likely out on what this playoff chance is, but they still do have a shot to do something. They've done it before. This franchise has made the playoffs multiple times with 2 and 4 or worse starts. So why not do it again, right?
A lot of ball left to be played still.
Yep, there sure is. But this team is definitely struggling for sure. And then a couple of super chats before we head out of here. Juan says J-Rob really set this team back behind 5+ years. There's a lot of misses, but they're not hitting the fixes either. Kendall says, shout out to y'all for trying, but it's unfixable. Maybe so. But hey, that's what we're here to do. All right, guys. Want to give a shout out to all of our great partners for our Titan Game Day Live all season long. Adventure Science Center, Jarrett Fire, Chim Chimney, BetMGM, the Mint Gaming Hall, X Golf Nashville, and of course, the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. This has been the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry postgame show. Hope everybody has a safe kind of beginning to your football Sunday because it's just 12:38. But hope everybody enjoys the NFL slate. Buck is in London, has lots of post-game coverage coming from London on our social media, but Sam Phelan will be taking over A to Z Sports Primetime as Buck travels back tomorrow from London to Boston, then to Nashville. And so Buck will be with you guys Monday on Primetime, but Sam will be live around 8 o'clock Central between Sunday Night Football. So he'll see you then. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Jack will see you on the Tighten Up Podcast on Wednesday. Have a great rest of your weekend. Appreciate it as always.